Hello everyone, my name is Sophie and welcome to my new video. I read Furyborn. Listen, I'm not gonna even try to say Fury. I will say furry. That's just how I say it. In my head, it's the same word. Furyborn, I have it here actually. Furyborn by Claire Legrand. Is that her real name? Why is she looking at me like that? Girl, why are you angry? Because you read a shit book? Okay, disclaimer. If this is your favorite book and you love this book, then I am happy for you. This is not meant to be an attack on you or the author. This is meant for entertainment purposes only. And I'm just here to voice people's opinions who maybe didn't enjoy this book as much, which is fine. And if you did enjoy it, I'm happy for you. Because everyone deserves to have a favorite book. I'm genuinely happy for you. Like, I feel like people don't take me seriously when I say that, but I mean it. Like, if you came to me and you were like, Furyborn is my favorite book, sure. Keep on slaying. For me, I gave it 1 star. It took me forever to read this book, and I wanted to read a bunch more books this year, but this just made it impossible. I love the cover though. I think the cover is really pretty. I don't really know. I read it because I need to read all of the popular booktok books. That's my mission. And thus far, we have yet to find a good one. Like, I have not succeeded in my mission to find a good book. A lot of aspects about this book were really weird to me. I literally dedicated my entire year to reading booktok books. They kind of all bleed together in my head. So what is this book about? I have no idea. The issue with this book is everything. Nobody that I trust gave praise for this book either, so... I don't know if anyone cares about praise. I literally just made a book haul where I was like, praise sucks, and it's true. Like, I will say this time and time again, nobody cares about praise. I don't think that half of the people who give praise have read the books that they give praise for anyway, so... Why are you lying? This book is about 2 different queens, and they all have their 2 different plot lines going on, and that is like an issue. There is no connection between the 2 plot lines. They feel like 2 separate books, 2 separate stories. Of course, the author has elements that connect those 2 stories, of course. You know, of course there is. She didn't do it in a way where it felt natural or where it made sense. And so when I was reading it, I was like, I don't care about either characters. This could have been 2 separate books. There's one book, I know that there's one book, that you can read from the front and from the back also, and it's 2 different stories and they meet in the middle or something. Honestly, that would have been better than whatever the fuck this is. It was dual POV, skipping back and forth. How the fuck am I supposed to explain this to you, what was going on, when we're just skipping back and forth between the fucking characters? I only do this as a hobby. I don't know how to actually critique books. Like, I have no authority to critique books. I don't even know why I'm here. Why do people want to know my opinion? Like, I don't know anything about fucking literature. So let's talk about the book, okay? As I said, there's dual POV. And so, one of them is Queen Riel. If you say her name like that, I don't really care. We start with a prologue, so we don't even start with the book. And I have to say, the prologue was like the best part about the book, definitely. I could tell from right then that I was not gonna enjoy it. Because like, all of the books are the same. Basically, the queen gives birth in the prologue, and then she kills her husband. Slay. There's some dudes there, and they get possessed, and then she gives her baby to a child that's there and says, take her away, and he takes her away, and that's how the prologue ends. So there's a lot of things going on already in the prologue, where it's like action, screaming, people dying, people being possessed, a lot of drama. And so it hooks you if you're an average reader. I'm better than you. No, I'm kidding. Oh my god. It's supposed to hook you, and I think it probably does a good job. The action, it doesn't stop. Literally the whole book, there was no time for character building or anything, because every chapter, it doesn't matter which POV, it was just action. There was no downtime. And oftentimes I complain about books where there is no uptime, where it just feels like dull and nothing is happening. Of course, I think that's an issue with a lot of books. I've never had an issue with a book where it was just too much going on, but this one, like, every chapter something was happening. I was like, I didn't care, you know? So like, how can it be that every chapter there's something going on and I just don't give a fuck? Huh? This was the first book where I truly wished that I did not have a YouTube channel and didn't tell people I was reading this, and they were like, yay, review! Because like, I didn't want to finish it. DNF, this was like, I did not want to finish it, and I have to be honest, I started fucking skipping pages because I was like, there's no point in this, and I'll explain why. Let me take the dust jacket off. Whatever. I don't even want to pull quotes actually now that I've looked into it. I'm just gonna tell you what happened. Queen Riel that like gives birth and then has a fight, and then she doesn't die, but whatever. She lives. She's super special because she is very powerful. And warum? Chill. The German came out. I'm in such disbelief. I have to start speaking German. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? She's super special. She grew up super secluded, and nobody knows that she is so powerful as she is, because in this world, people have elemental power and they have like very special names that I didn't care for, and you can at max like control one element, and of course you can guess how many elements this bitch can control. And it's not just elements, it's also like shadow and light, and those are like two different things. So everything that exists, she can control. She can do it. She is everything. She literally says that I am everything. Yeah. The other POV, we have 1,000 years later. They are 1,000 years separated, which is so weird. The world 1,000 years ago, so both POVs, basically, they just feel like the same. It feels like in 1,000 years, nothing has changed. And that's kind of weird. Something's gotta change, you know what I mean? But like everything is the same. They have the same stuff going on. There was like no revolution. Nothing happened. I don't really know why it was 1,000 years. It could have also been just 100. Like 1,000 seems a little bit exaggerated, you know what I mean? Like, take it down a notch. But the second girl, her name is... I literally finished this book like 30 minutes ago. I'll tell you what her name is in a second. Eliana. Her name is Eliana. She is your wannabe Aelin. Yeah, that's all I have to say about her. She is also super special and super slay. She's a bounty hunter assassin, and she's 18 years old, and for some reason, like, all of the best bounty hunters and everything, and everyone in this book is 18 years old. Like, there's no grown people in this book that are super successful in anything, because fuck adults. And she has a little bit of an advantage because she doesn't get hurt, which is why she's so special. So this is 1,000 years after the prologue and the fall of the Queen Riel that was so powerful. And it's 1,000 years later. Like, maybe they two are connected because there's this prophecy about two queens, one of blood and one of light, and Queen Riel was the blood queen, so I wonder who Eliana is gonna be. Anyway, I'll talk about it when we get there, but the prologue already told you the whole plot twists, and so when it came up, it was like, it was not a plot twist anymore because you had a prologue where everything was explained. So how am I supposed to be surprised? Am I supposed to act surprised? Anyway, so she can't get hurt, okay? Eliana, whenever she gets a cut, it just heals up immediately and shit like that. So she's very special, but she just kind of ignores it. Her grin emerged hard as glass. Hard as glass? What kind of glass? There's thin glass, there's thick glass. Doesn't have to be hard. Why did you take glass as a fucking example, bitch? She is a strong baddie. She doesn't care about anyone. She only cares about herself, and she kills people, and she doesn't feel any remorse because her mom that was already a bounty hunter, and then she got injured, and now she's a bounty hunter, and her grandpa was a bounty hunter, so everyone in this family just killed people. Harkon choked out. He took Eliana's hand in his sweaty one, rubbed his thumb along her palm. His voice came out frayed. He had not slept. She had slept like the dead. Sleep was important. One could not hunt without a good night's sleep. Okay, queen. She just killed a bunch of people and she sleeps like the dead. She's so cold. Even Aelin didn't do that. Even Aelin cared. Okay? Bitch. Also, Hakan was a character in the beginning and then he died. And I don't, like, she keeps thinking about, like, the fact that he died because they fucked and everything. So she keeps thinking, like, oh my god, he died to protect me because he bought us time and we were escaping something. And then, like, midway through the book, she just stops thinking about him. She gets over it. Like, I wish I had the ebook because then I could look up the last time they mentioned his name. But it was so funny because she just stopped saying it. Or maybe when people are going to be like, no, that's not true. Okay, I skipped some parts. Maybe she did. No, that's also not true. I didn't skip them entirely. I skimmed the pages, but I wasn't reading every single sentence. So I'm also not pulling that many quotes because it was just so boring. I was bored out of my mind, truly. Like, because since you have the prologue and then Queen Riel's story, Queen Riel, at that point, she's not even fucking engaged to the prince, you know? They go back 2 years after the prologue. So you have the prologue. 2 years before is Riel's story, and then 1,000 years later is Eliana's story. So you know how Riel's story is gonna end. Yeah? You get what I'm saying? And keeping the reader's attention when you already know how that person's story is gonna end is so difficult. And the fucking author, she didn't succeed. I was not interested. Fucking Riel, she has an outburst of her power because people are trying to kill the prince, and she's in love with the prince, and he's in love with her, and they have sex later. She has an outburst of her power while she's trying to protect him, and so now everyone knows that she's so powerful because she, like, no one knew it before. Her entire plotline is that she has to go through different trials. Kind of like, I don't know, like any book that has trials in it, bitch! And she has to go through different trials and kind of prove herself that she can control her power and that she is the queen of light that is here to protect people, not the queen of blood that's here to destroy the world. Which she is the queen of blood. It's kind of supposed to show how she gets more power hungry throughout the book, but honestly, I didn't really get it. Every time her chapter comes on, it's just a trial, another trial, another trial. In the beginning of every trial, she's like, I don't know if I can do this, and then by the end of the trial, she's like, I can do it, I can do everything, I can slay. And so it's the same thing over and over again, 4 different times. You know what I mean? And it's just like, I know that she's gonna be queen in the end. I don't care about this. Why am I reading this? Why do I have to read this? Like, why are we skipping back in time? I don't care. And the thing is, this could have been successful. And it has been done successfully in the past, I'm sure, by authors that kind of reveal in the beginning where the character ends up and then they show the journey there. But it was just not keeping my attention. It was just not done interestingly. It was done boringly. No, she worried because some days she felt like the familiar weight of the necklace at her throat was the only thing that kept her from flying apart. I think it's called falling apart. But sure, flying. We're gonna go with that. You don't even... No, whatever. Sophie. Sometimes I need to, like, take a step back from myself. As she turned to go, he said softly, Elle? She hesitated. If she stayed, they would share his bed, as they often did. His touch would be absolution, his strong brown arms, the tender way he held her after he stroked her hair. For a little while, she would forget who she was and what she had done. Girl, chill. Why are you randomly talking about fucking him? In the past, we have the thing going on where Riel saves the prince because she loves him and she wants to fuck him, but actually he's engaged to his cousin. So... a little bit of an issue. I have a proposal for you, but I'd rather not talk about it here, in case whoever took your mother decides to return. What say we take our secrets elsewhere, Little Dread? Little? The moment she had the chance, she would knock him on his ass. She thinks she's a grown woman. She's 18, which, by the way, I don't even know what this book is. I think it's marketed as YA, but honestly, it's a little bit too explicit for YA, so I'm not sure. And I wouldn't call it new adult either, because it's too childish for new adult. This book should just be on Wattpad, maybe. She meets a dude from the rebels, because there's rebels, and she works for the kingdom. And the rebel dude is like, hey, work with me, because her mom was actually kidnapped. And if you work with me, we're gonna find your mom. I promise you. And then she's like, okay, we have a deal. And then she's like... what's your name? And he goes, my name is Simon, which now I finally get to talk about it, because, like, there's one person in this book named Simon. Okay? The guy that she makes a deal with, he says, my name is Simon. If we think back to the prologue, the queen, who is right now not queen, she birthed a daughter. She birthed a daughter, and she gave that daughter to a child named Simon. And she said, take her away. Now, it's mentioned that Simon has special abilities to teleport, but it's not very much clarified, like, if that means he can just teleport from one place to another, or whatever. And it turns out he has a special ability that makes him teleport, but not only places, but also in time. So what he did, that 8-year-old child at that point, his name is Simon, he took the baby and he like skipped to the future 1,000 years, okay? And that daughter is Eliana. She's the daughter of the fucking queen that we have to dual POV, okay? That's the thing. And it's like, in the end, it's like revealed, like the last half of the book, the last half of the book is the second half, bitch. It gets revealed, it's like, oh, you're the daughter of the queen, and she's like, how is that possible, blah, 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 and then Simon is like, well, I teleported you, and you knew this. Did you not pay attention? Like, if this came as a surprise to you, I'm genuinely asking this, like, why? Because, like, there's 2 guys named Simon. Did you forget the prologue? Because she meets this guy on page 90, and he says, I'm Simon. I was like, okay, so he, like, like they're related, like she's a daughter or whatever. Like obviously, you know what I mean? Like why are you revealing your plot twists? Like if you would have not mentioned the child's name, sure, but then she keeps on mentioning the child in other chapters too, not just the prologue, in both, like in the past, you know what I mean? Like, you know it's Simon. How like what are the odds that there's another dude named Simon in the other POV? That's why this was so boring, because I was like, okay, like I get it. I know everything that's going on. Well, she said, we're here. Now it's your turn. Simon slipped past her. Watch and learn, little dread. Call me little again and I'll punch you. Girl. The thing is, she's supposed to be like the dread of whatever city she lives in. I didn't read the word when it came up. Orlando? Orleans? New Orleans? I don't know where they are. Supposed to be like the super feared assassin, you know, like Aelin, whatever. And she never does anything to prove this to us because all of that had been established before. And the thing is, that was kind of ass. Because with Aelin, you would still, like, sorry, I'm referencing Aelin. She's from Throne of Glass. She would at least do things where you were like, okay, those are smart and witty. So you believe she was actually a proper assassin, but for fucking Eliana, she didn't do shit. This was just her title, and she had a lot of kills, but she doesn't really do anything grand throughout the book. She just kind of, like, gets people in trouble. We'll get to that, actually. Fucking, the bitch queen that dies, Riel, she gets told she has to do the trials. I don't really know, like, again, her POV, like, it was really boring because you know how it was going to end. At least with Eliana, you were kind of, you have an open end because you don't know where that's going. So that was maybe a little bit more interesting to read. It wasn't. But I'm just like talking as someone who is going to read this book and maybe like see it a little bit different. I have to keep my mind open for everyone. So they tell her she has to take trials and she goes, in her head, I will be tested, she thought. It will, ... probably hurt. Why? Why would it hurt? Like, what are they gonna do to you? They're gonna beat you up or what, bitch? No. Why is that your first fucking thought? What are you? Razavel whispered. I don't know how you say his name. I didn't read it when it came out. That was the first time I read it. Sudden movement just beyond Razaval's shoulder. A tall, dark shape. A shift in the air. Eliana flashed Razaval a smile. I am your doom. We don't use lines like this anymore. They were cool in 2014. This book was published in 2018. Especially not in the first book, when the character hasn't done anything, you can't just be like, I'm your doom. Girl, who even are you? You know, like, what the fuck? Also, I don't know who this Razaval dude is. I have no idea who he is. I was so confused because, honestly, he kept making appearances in chapters. And he has something to do with the Empire. He's like someone higher up. I'm not exactly sure who, maybe like a higher up assassin or something. But he's also very powerful. And so he would come up in later chapters over and over again, just like randomly appear, and they would fight, and then she would run away, and then he would make an appearance like 3 chapters later. They would fight, and then she would run away again. I was like, who is this random ass side character NPC coming like? I was so confused. Whenever his name came up, I was like, wait, why is he here? The trials that Riel goes through, they're quite boring, okay? You can absolutely skip them. Because as I said, she wins all of them. She has to, like, stop some boulders from falling from the sky. She does, like, a Harry Potter Triwizard Tournament. Triwizard Tournament, that's literally what she does. That's what I was looking for earlier. Because she has to do, like, an underwater thing with sea creatures, and then she also has to do a maze, which is like, bitch, did we just read Harry Potter and we're like, oh my god, let's make it better? I don't really know, but that's what she has to do, and obviously she like succeeds in all of them, and she's slaying, and people are like starting to love her and shit like that. I don't really know. I don't really care. Also, I thought this was a standalone, and it's not. It's, I think, a duology. I don't know, because I didn't check it. I just saw on the fucking cover it said book 1. I'm not gonna read book 2, bitch. For Riel, she also has another plotline going on. She has like a love triangle, so she's in love with the prince, but she's also in love with some god, angel. It's an angel. She's in love with an angel called Corin, I think his name is. I don't really know. Some of C. Because basically this world is built around angels and everything. Now, I don't even know anything about angels, if I'm being fucking honest. I don't know if she made up her own system or if it's like existing. The humans and the angels fought, and then the angels were banished with a gate, and the gate is falling apart, and so angels are slipping into the world, and there's going to be another war. And so that is why Corin is there, and he's like talking to her in her mind. He's like reasing her, where he's like just a voice in her head, so she doesn't ever see him. And then they have like a love triangle where she's in love with the prince, but also with the angel in her head, and she's never even seen him. You know what I mean? Like, you've never even met. He's literally just a voice in her head, and she, from the first time he speaks to her in her mind, she's like, I think I want to fuck. And I was like, girl, why? What if you're getting catfished? Meanwhile, Eliana, they save a random princess because, like, if I'm being honest, I have no idea what this world looks like. I don't know if there's a map in there. I'm not gonna look. I don't know the world building. I don't have any concept of it. I don't know how many kings there are. I don't know who's ruling the fucking country, continent. I don't know what's going on. They saved a princess from somewhere, her and Simon, Eliana and Simon, and they have a mission to bring her back to wherever the fuck she comes from. I don't really know. And so she's now working with the rebels, you know, in exchange to find her mother, who was kidnapped. And so Simon brings her to the rebel base, and so she kind of just, she's like, fuck them. It's an underground rebel base, and she escapes with her little brother, which she has a little brother, and I know he's the favorite of a lot of characters. Y'all are just characters in my main story. I'm the main character, you're the side characters. He's a favorite of a lot of people because he's just like a little kid. I don't really know how old he is, but I will look it up because that's actually relevant. I actually googled them earlier because I was looking up what Eliana's age was, which we'll talk about later. Listen, yeah, his name is Remy. I'm sorry if your name is Remy, you know, peace and love, but I don't know anyone named Remy in real life, so the only Remy that I know is Ratatouille, the rat, so I was just thinking that her brother was like a little rat. Oh, he's 12. Well, that doesn't make it any better. I thought he was like 8. She wants to betray the rebels, and so she escapes from the rebel base with her brother, and takes him to one of the Empire's outposts because the rebels were talking about attacking it. And so she goes there. She's like, I was taken by the rebels. I'm here to give you information. You're gonna be attacked, blah, blah, blah. She takes her brother, and her brother runs away before she talks to them and goes and informs the rebels because he's like the only sensible kid in here. He's 12. She informs them, and then the fucking attack starts, and they have to kind of not do it on plan because now she exposed them, and so they could have prepared, so they had to do it earlier. And there's a prison, and she sees this prison, and in her head she's like, oh my god, there's women, there's children, because fuck the men, they can die, but women and children. All of a sudden, she starts having like an existential crisis. Listen, bitch, okay? I did not understand this. She saw that the Empire had a fucking prison. Yeah? She went there telling them, oh, that's where the rebel base is, you can go attack it, in exchange for her to, I don't know, be part of the super assassin empire group, because she's not part of that, I don't know. Maybe it's a boy band, I don't really know. And so she goes there and she gives them this information, and there's like 300 rebels in that base. So she was willing to sacrifice those rebels to come to the empire. And then they attack the fucking outpost, and Simon comes and it's like, come, we have to go, we have to fucking go. And she goes, oh, but the prisoners. We have to save the prisoners. Bitch! You literally just sacrificed like 300 people in the fucking rebel outpost, and now you want to save the fucking prisoners? Who do you think that is? Rebels! Why the fuck do you want to save them? You know what I mean? She was freaking out. She was like, we have to go back, we have to go back. And Simon's like, we don't have time because you fucked up the plan. We would have saved them if you didn't just fucking go there and talk shit about us. And she's like, huh. So I don't really know like what was going on in this scene. It was so weird to me because why do you care about people all of a sudden when you literally just sacrifice like a whole ass rebel base? And those people in the fucking prison are obviously also rebels. Why would they be in a prison otherwise? There are people back there, she said. Refugees, prisoners, children. We have to free them. I didn't get that. Fuck her. The trials are still going on. And then around page 250, I started noticing. I don't know if they really used it before, if I just wasn't paying attention, but they started like swearing a lot randomly. Again, I don't know if they were doing it before, if I was just like not really registering it in my brain. But here I realized it. Magic does not exist, but it did once. Maybe some of it survived Queen Riel's fall. Eliana had snorted. Doubtful. That bitch was a lot of things, but she wasn't sloppy. She only gave sloppy toppy. So how do you explain it then? She had shrugged, grinning. I won't argue with my buddy being a wonder. Hakan could tell you that much. You know who she says that to? Her 12-year-old brother. Her 12-year-old brother. She's like, go ask the dude I fuck. I fuck him. He's 12. Why are you doing that? Like, We then go to Riel, and like this is around the time where they start having like more, they start swearing and they start having sex. She has been wanting to fuck the prince the whole time, and so she fucks him in the garden. They fuck in the garden and not in the bed that they have. They're in a castle. There's enough beds. They're outside in the middle of the night and they start fucking on the field of grass. And then they get caught, obviously, because like they're just on a field of grass, bitch. Everyone can see you. And you know he's engaged to his cousin, so this is like a whole issue. But the cousin is like, I don't love him. Like you can't have him. You can like be with each other, and I don't even want to fuck him. Like I don't love him like that. He's my fucking cousin. Like I just love him as family. And then she's like, really? And then the other girl is like, yeah, what the fuck? Also, I was hoping, because I wasn't really paying attention, but I was hoping that Eliana would fuck one of her girlfriends, because she has one girlfriend, and her name is Navi, and she is the princess that they saved, that the mission is to get her back safely, and they had a lot of scenes together where they were like, so we can be friends, and they were like, helping each other and everything, and I was hoping that they would get together and fuck, but she gets with Simon. It's explicitly mentioned that Eliana is bi. Well, not explicitly. She literally just says that she once fucked a girl. And then she passed out. Because she fucked her and the sex was so slay. But that's all the bi representation that you get. Like nothing else. I was hoping that she would get with Navi. Because they had a lot of chemistry from what I was reading. And I think that would have fit well. But then in the end she gets with Simon. And as I mentioned, Simon was a child that traveled 1,000 years. And then he was still a child. But that still means that they have an 8-year age gap. And she is 18 years old, which makes him 26. And I think that's weird. At least he's not like 200 or anything. There's a big difference between 18 and 26. I'm just gonna leave that here. I don't really know why she didn't make the two girls get together. If this is supposed to be by rep. Maybe they get together in the second book. No, they don't, actually. I think I googled it and it didn't say that they fucked. So, disappointing. But I didn't expect any less. Then we get a really weird scene, because as I mentioned, they just start sexing all of a sudden. Riel has a dream about Angel in her head that's like talking to her in her head. She's never seen him. And then she has a wet dream, which like, okay, whatever. Kind of weird, but sure. Riel awoke with a choked gasp, her fingers already working between her legs. 3 quick strokes, and she came apart, quietly pulsing around her hand. She turned her face into her pillow, seeking relief of her flaming cheeks, but the pillow was drenched in her sweat. Okay. What the fuck? You are the one who rises, the Furyborn child. You are the Sun Queen, Eliana, and I have come to bring you home. Is what, like, one random bitch that appears. She was like an angel and now she's not anymore. She comes to give Eliana this information that she is the Furyborn, that she's a furry. Eliana's like, I'm not a furry. Furries are weird. But we knew this. So this is like where the reveal happens. That's how it happens. But like, we knew this. It was not a secret, y'all. Like, it was so boring. I was so bored. I'm sorry. I just don't want to talk about it anymore. Riel, at the moment, or Riel, I don't know how you say her name. She's still going through it. She almost gets murdered by by some dude. I didn't even mention the side characters. She almost gets murdered, and then she comes back, and then she's like, I'm gonna murder you, and everyone's like, no, don't do it. And I'm like, I think she can. Honestly, he threw her off a cliff. I think she's allowed to kill him. Honestly, I would have done it. And then we have our queen, our new queen, Eliana, the Sun Queen. She asked the ex-angel, why does the Emperor care who I am or that I am alive? Girl, she literally just told you that you are the lost queen. Like, why would the Emperor not care? The Emperor is like the supreme angel. Corin, he's the Emperor. But, yeah. I didn't really get the whole Emperor, I don't know how you say it. I didn't really get all of that, but it doesn't really matter. It really doesn't, because I didn't care. I'm not gonna read the second book. I don't care about the magic system. So then, we also get the reveal that her mom is now probably a monster, which she is, because there have been, not only her mom was kidnapped, but a lot of women in the kingdom were kidnapped over a various amount of time. No one really knew where they went, and it turns out that the Emperor, so Corin, the angel, he was kidnapping them and turning them into monsters, into like zombies, because he wants to fight the humans. And so her mom also, which she's not her mom because she's the daughter of the queen, but her adoptive mom. Then we also get a sex scene between Riel and the prince. His name is Audric, by the way. I don't care. Riel is really horny for him the entire book. She wants to suck his, like, ginormous cock so bad. But the thing is, she doesn't even... When they have sex, she doesn't even say, wow, he's so big. So I think he has a small penis. I think it would have been so funny if he took his pants off. Like, she had been anticipating this sex the whole time, and he takes his pants off, and it's just a small penis. But they have earth-shattering sex. Very explicit and very funny. So that's why I'm saying, like, this is not really YA. I don't really know what this is. Because it doesn't feel new adult either. It feels too childish for that. The wall at her back trembled. She's literally, like, shaking the earth. And at this point, he's just fingering her. And then she's like, wait, stop. I just made the earth shake, like, we can't do this, I'm afraid I'll hurt you. And he's like, it's not that deep. And then she's like, you're right. And then they have this snippet of conversation before he puts his penis inside of her. And I would take you there, he said, and not rest until you'd had your fill of me. That's just what I want. I want you to fill me. With his cum. So that's the sex we get. We also were doing really well on all of the fucking... quotes, but then we get this. He cried out against her neck, and a desperate, utterly male sound was her undoing. So that, like, also took away a whole star, because, like, I don't like lines like that. What is an utterly male? Am I reading Sarah J. Maas? She was, like, writing the sex scene. She had, like, fucking Echo Moth open on the side or something. She was like, okay. Yeah, male. Earth-shattering. The mountains are shaking. So I don't really know. That's basically it. That's basically all that happens in this book. The end is Corin pulls up in Riel's timeline and he kills a bunch of people and then he disappears because she burns him. They're like, we're gonna go to war with the angels. And then Eliana is also in the present like, we're gonna go to war with the angels. And that's it. Honestly, guys, like, I love you, okay? And I read these books for you, but this book was, as I said, and I don't mean this as a joke, the first book that I truly did not want to finish because I was bored out of my mind. It was not funny bad, it was boring bad. You knew where everything was going, and the magic system and everything was not intriguing enough for me to actually keep up with it. Which, like, I always feel kind of bad because, like, you come here for a review and I'm like, I don't really know how it works. And you're like, well, thanks, bitch, for nothing. I don't have anything else to say. I think this was a bad book. I see who you are. You are my enemy. I think people who find a joy in this book and are able to enjoy this are really able to enjoy it because the magic system was different from normal books that other YA books that I've read with the whole angel thing going on. I don't know, it just was too boring. It was just like not enough. It was not executed properly. The writing wasn't really good. And then also the characters were really flat and they didn't really have anything going for them that made me like them or relate to them. That's all. Like, I can't say anything about it because I have no emotions towards it. I just, besides the fact that I was bored out of my fucking mind. And also it felt so convoluted. I think that it honestly would have been better if it would have just been like Eliana and then maybe you wrote a prequel about Riel. Like fucking Jennifer L. Armentrout is doing with her fucking series that no one fucking cares about. I'm gonna try to read one more book before I'm done with the year. You can watch my book haul. I want to read one of those books and comment which one I should read out of those. You can also message me on Instagram. You can watch my TikToks. You can message me on Goodreads. I don't know if you can message people on Goodreads actually. But you can follow me on Goodreads and befriend me. I'll friend you back. And other than that, thank you so much for watching. I love you very much. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you stay happy, you stay healthy. And maybe I'll see you in my next one. Bye bye.